What evidence is there that the face masks that are routinely worn by people, either cloth or those pale blue ones, the paper ones, that they actually do stop transmission at all, or a little bit?
Well, we must have talked about this about half a dozen times now, Julia, about the lack of high quality evidence. But let's assume they do work. Like they did in the Denmark trial, what you need to do then is supply everybody with masks so that when they use it once, they then put it in a bin, a biosecure bin, and put it in the bin. The cloth masks certainly do nothing. So if you're going to do something, the number one thing is you have to provide the whole country with these face masks. But let's be clear, if you think they work, in Germany and Austria, they mandated to have the FFP masks. These are the medical grade masks. And look what's happened. And that was last January. They mandated them in public spaces, shops. And actually now Germany and Austria having to bring in complete restrictions to deal with the rising cases. Now, you would think if you considered this was your last line of treatment, it was one of the things you're going to go to, you would develop an evidence base. This is an utter failure of our health systems, our research systems, and our advisors to be able to do this. And in the absence, particularly in school settings, we should be incredibly mindful of the impact on children's well-being. Do we want to keep them in a perpetual state of anxiety as they try to go about their daily business? For that, I feel incredibly emotional about what we're trying to do. I just think we're sending the wrong message to the next generation, and I can't explain why we're doing that.
And given given that the vast majority of secondary school pupils have already had COVID, it does seem quite bizarre. I mean, I've given my daughter a mask exemption. I'm not having her wearing a mask in school. She had COVID about a month ago. She's had COVID back in March 2020. She doesn't have COVID. She can't give COVID to someone else. So why on earth should she wear a mask? She's not protecting herself or anyone else. More parents are entitled to exempt their children. There's perfectly good reason to do so.
I think it's incredibly important to have this discussion with your children to reduce their anxiety so that they, as I said, can go about their life. I've seen many children who are incredibly worried about the illness, whether they're going to be ill, and that's an important to negate that anxiety. But I think there are two things happen. One is you're talking about this free will and liberty to make decisions. When does that kick in? When are we to be trusted to make better decisions? On the flip side, though, there'll be some people, and a lot of people will just go, look, I'm not going to the shops. I'm just not going to go out, and that'll be bad for UK PLC. So at some point in this pandemic, there needs to be a complete sea change of the advice, a complete sea change into understanding that we can make decisions in our own best interest. And the data will provide us with that. At the moment, we've got less than 6,000 people in hospital compared to over 30,000 at the peak last winter. When are we going to put that in front of people and say, we're in a safe space? When the data changes, we'll be able to respond to that. But somehow this government doesn't trust us and think we all need to be treated like primary school children.
Carl Heneghan, thank you very much. Always good to talk to you, Professor of Evidence-Based Medicine at University of Oxford.